There was one deal, it was a flip, and it was a lot of stress because, like I said at the beginning, we have to play the game. So we had accepted offer on a big land in Bicancourt. We had to come up with about $12 million in cash to close because there was no financing, but it was a really good deal. I remember this time it was 3 months stress of like go ahead, you had to risk your deposit, you had to put in going forward. And then we had some investors coming in there. We had sitting with meetings with contractors, with developers, how to develop the land. And there was some people saying, no, you are dreaming, it's not a good deal. The seller wanted to back out as well because he realized that he gave us a little bit too good price. We came up with the whole money in that day. And that land, it was like a $12, $13 million deal, $40 million deal. And then a year and a half later, it was sold for $35 million.
Welcome to the Vision Dev podcast, where entrepreneurs, innovators, and creators come to us to not only share their stories, but also their mindset, strategies, and the tools behind their great accomplishments. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Leo Burnett. I'm the founder of Vision Dev, our real estate private equity firm here in Montreal. And on the road to building our dream portfolio, we like to interview entrepreneur and successful people to come on the show and talk about their journey and how they overcome obstacles in a way that we can learn from and apply in our business. And so you, dear listeners, can apply it in your own life. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, one that is totally different from anyone here in the office and who comes to talk about his multifamily value-add syndication business in which he bought for over 800 units here in Montreal in a very short amount of time due to a high focus and excellent market reading. Today's guest is a lot deeper than I was expecting and comes to talk about how to build a business with faith, with values, with principles. And in this conversation, we discuss topics like wealth and what success means, life, and how business and such principles cross all the time and how it's important to recognize this. It was a thoughtful conversation with none other than Abraham Leimzider, and you will not want to miss this excellent episode. Et maintenant, un petit mot de la part de nos chers commanditaires. Les gens viennent souvent me voir pour me demander par où est-ce que je commence si je veux me lancer dans l'investissement immobilier. Je vais toujours recommander le CIQ, le Club d'investisseurs immobiliers du Québec, parce que pour nous, c'est là que tout a commencé, puis c'est le club le plus établi au Québec. Puis on peut dire que ça a bien fonctionné pour nous. On a acheté pour plus de 20 millions de dollars en investissement immobilier, c'est une centaine de portes, on a bâti 2 fonds immobiliers. Bref, vous voyez l'image. Au club, on a appris plein de choses comme comment dénicher les meilleures opportunités, comment les analyser comme un pro en utilisant des chiffriers, comment structurer un deal avec des partenaires, comment travailler avec l'argent des autres quand on n'a pas nécessairement les mises de fonds requises quand on commence dans l'immobilier. Bref, tout ce qui est nécessaire dans un coffre à outils d'investisseurs immobiliers. Puis c'est pas tout, c'est également une communauté. Comme je disais, c'est super important de s'entourer des bonnes personnes. On le dit toujours, tu es la somme des 5 personnes avec qui tu passes le plus de temps. Mais le club, c'est ça. C'est une façon de s'entourer des personnes qui sont déjà rendues là où tu voudrais et poser tes questions. Pour vous, chers auditeurs, le club offre une promo. Vous avez simplement entré le code promo VisionDev sur leur site web quand vous voudrez acheter plusieurs de leurs produits comme leurs livres ou accéder au mensuel qui est un événement de réseautage à ne pas rater où on est toujours présent, leur formation, les voyages dans le sud, etc. Et on a déjà, nous, tout consommé ça, puis c'est de l'excellente qualité. Donc, encore une fois, utilisez le code promo VisionDev pour accéder au club d'investissement immobilier le plus établi au Québec. Abraham, Abe.
Abraham, Abe, yes.
Very excited to have you on the podcast. We've been in touch for a couple months now. We met through an academy, a program. And since then, I've been following you a lot on LinkedIn. You're very thoughtful. You're a thoughtful real estate investor who's done tremendous business. I'm very impressed with what you've done so far. And I'm glad you came on the podcast.
Yes.
And you were telling me it's your first.
Yes. I'm actually very excited to be here as well.
Yeah?
To come out and to give from my knowledge to the world, to share my knowledge, my understandings, my experience. And yes, I believe I owe it to the world.
Well, the world is happy to hear you.
Yes, because if I get a gift from God, if I get something, I want to be able to give it to other people to make sure more people understand it, more people get to No. So at least when they start working on their deals, they can start from a higher level where I started. Because if you can use that level where I am now, you build from that, like starting from the 5th floor, building the 6th floor, instead of starting from ground up, building only the 1st floor.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I see you're at the crossroads between faith and business, and I think that's going to make a very interesting interview. Not enough people talk about spirituality the way you talk about it in business, and it's refreshing. So we're going to have a good time. So let's start with a bit of context. You're like I was saying, I'm very impressed with what you've done in real estate so far. You've built a tremendous portfolio as a syndicator. So let me ask you a first question. If as your younger self, we're about the same age, we were talking about, but let's say you were still a teenager and saw what you've built so far, how would you feel like? You've built a more than 800 unit portfolio in real estate. At your age, it's fairly impressive. How would your younger self feel about that?
It's interesting, your question, because this question always puts me in a deep challenging spot to myself to are you happy what you built? Or you look at it like, no, that's not what I want. And as if it may seem to other people that, look, you're so successful, you're so ambitious, you delivered so much, there's always something in me that tells me that's not enough.
So is that where you sit right now? You feel like you've not done enough?
Yeah, I always sit like that, and I have to work very hard to, first of all, to give myself the accomplishment, the acknowledgement that you actually did a lot. And the energy, the power, the want of getting more, the want of being the more successful and being able to help more people is always driving me not to look at the accomplishment, versus look at look what you still have ahead of you. And I think this is kind of where you started with faith comes with entrepreneur, with business, is the mix, the harmony, the get together of knowing that whatever you need to do, you will do. Whatever needs to happen will happen. And at the same time, of the energy, of the excitement of actually going out and doing and focusing and fighting for the next deal. And knowing that this is you have to do now, but at the same time, be happy with what you did. So if I would elaborate on this a little bit more, saying that when we're not happy with what we did, I see that my challenge means that I really think that I have to do more. Now, it comes from a good place that gives me the drive, but always comes from a place that I think that I'm the one doing it. And this is something that gives me my credibility, that tells me that I'm good enough. But if I know that God does everything, I'm just the middleman, and I'm just focusing on it, to doing it the best way I can do, then I can be more excited, more happy what I did, because it's not, I don't have to prove anything. It's just I'm doing my duties.
That's it.
And then I can go up more. I know I have the ambitious, have the want, have the drive to go on more. But at the same time, to make this level of harmonizing between the ambitiousness, going on more and more, and actually being comfortable with what I did.
That's a thoughtful answer. Just to put people a bit more in context, like when you cross somebody new, like you meet somebody new, like, and I ask you, what do you do for a living? How do you explain what you do?
So I would say the way I was thinking recently about prescribing it is, like I said, there's a lot of things about partnership. So every relationship, every business deal is a partnership. Let's give an example. A client buys a product from a company. It's a relationship. because the client can't do this. Let's say a computer, let's say any item, yeah? The client needs it. Now, he can't do it himself. He doesn't have the factory. So he has to go to a company that does it. Now, let's say this client is doing whatever. He's doing it differently. He's making windows. He's making a factory. Now, this company that does the computers, they need windows. So they have to go to this client. So it's kind of a relationship how the world is built, how God built the universe. That everyone has to supply everyone. Now, when I come to real estate syndication, it's the same concept that I am providing something for these people that they don't have, and they're providing something to me that I need. So they're providing the capital, and I'm providing my superpower, my energy, my power of getting the deals done, taking care of the deals, my experience in real estate. So it's kind of equal match, kind of a match that's we're like partners in a certain way. In a certain way, we're getting a partnership. So I'm just the other hand that, now to summarize that, I'm the other hand for them to take care of their money, to build it, that what they can do. What they need someone else that have experience in that fact. Maybe they can have more experience than me in other factories, in other industries. But in that industry, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I have the power. So I can give them what they need in order for their money to be built. So when when I meet someone and that's like, what can you offer me? I can help you grow your money the way you want to have it, but you don't have the experience for it. You don't have the knowledge for it, or you don't want to have. Even if you have, you don't want to be busy with that.
Because you're busy with something
You're
else.
busy with something else.
And you do that through multifamily real estate.
Yes.
You've
Mostly.
only done multifamily?
No, I done industrial also,
Okay.
commercial. My most syndications are multifamily, because I would say there's a different item. Multifamily is a low risk investment, and it's a good return, but I would say, like, when it comes to industrial, it's a higher risk, could be a high return, could be a high risk. So most of the time when I approach someone, I would be very honest, very clear. What is the funds coming from? What is your focus on that funds? Because I won't say, like, put it into high risk properties, because the funds needs to be for a scholarship, for its pension plan, whatever the goal for these funds needs to be. It needs to be something that they can rely on and they could trust, they could sleep well. Versus when it comes to high risk commercial, it's supposed to be a different kind of aspect, different kind of investor, different kind of person that knows that, okay, this is a high risk, I take the risk, and it's a 50-50 chance.
So matching the investment to the
clientele,
to the proper And you've been doing this for how long?
I'm doing real estate now for, I would say, about 7-8 years.
7 or 8 years. 800 units plus commercial plus industrial.
Yes.
Impressive. So how did this all start? Do you have family in real estate, or who showed you?
So I'm coming from, my nature is always entrepreneur nature. I was always a person that I'm a boss. I'm not an employee. When I got married, had kids, I started need to bring bread on the table.
Okay. Some people start with that before building a family. You built the foundations.
Yes, that's built the foundations family. So we know at least to have the family, have someone to work for. Wife, kids. Now, when it comes to this point, I was looking into business ideas. I started doing like small ideas, everything like freelancer type, not something dedicated. Because I always felt I need to do something more than I have more the power and people need me. So I need to do more. Coming from a family that has a wealthy family and have some real estate, they don't have what the numbers that I do, because they are not they're like, you can say the old age home. We'll talk about this later, about the debt, about going with debt, we're going with cash. We can talk about this. But I see myself that real estate is something talks to me. I didn't have no idea exactly what I will do, where I will start. But I thought like this is something I need to focus on. So as you probably know, like I didn't go to college, I didn't go all this stuff. I learned in a university for Bible, Torah. So I was trying to listen to some podcasts, some interviews, some people that did real estate, some kind of idea. I started to learn cap rate, numbers. And then I was like starting to call brokers. Okay, you have a deal for me? Maybe you have. And I remember correctly, my first deal, I had some friend that told me like, bring me a deal. I'll pay you, I'll give you something. We'll give you some consulting fees. And I went on Kijiji. I was trying to look online, Kijiji, find the brokers. And suddenly I found a deal, fiveplex. And I called them up, I have a good fiveplex. It was like, that time was 5 units in Laval for $460,000, less than $100,000 the door. For nice income, normal, decent. And he actually went through the deal with Lowe's financing, all this kind of stuff. And I made my 1% commission, consulting fee, call it.
$4,000.
$4.5 grand. I remember that day I came home, I told my wife, look what I got. I was like, whoa, you got like, it's like the biggest
prize.
prize, because I like $4,500 was like for me so much money that time. I was like, whoa, okay, you did it. And from then on, started finding, so I had friends that looking for real estate. So I started finding deals, started getting knowledge, the areas. When I started, I have no idea which area is good, which area is bad. I started looking in, okay, Montreal, South Shore, Longueuil. And looking back now on these times, for example, I had a friend that I helped him buy a triplex in Longueuil. The price was $300,000 to $40,000 for a triplex in Longueuil. Now the building is worth $800,000-900,000. And I'm thinking back to this guy, like that time I just made like a few $1,000s consulting fee and helping him manage a property, a little bit kind of stuff. But looking back on this, it's like, wow, I didn't even expect what's going to happen. So taking it from there, again, so this was the first deal, then the second deal, then another deal. Then I bought a house.
For you and your family?
No, it was first I bought a house for investment. I had a house for myself separately.
Okay.
A condo in the community. But then I bought another house, and we got 90% financing on that as like a single family home. And we start playing around, and times goes, and one deal, another deal. Interesting. So the interesting thing is that I never went through the same size deal than before.
Always bigger.
Every deal went bigger. Because like I said, I feel I have the power. So if you have the power, go to the next one. Mm-hmm. Why stay by triplex? Go to sixplex, go to 10plex, 9plex, 10 unit, then go to 19, then 47, 45, whatever came my way.
Mm-hmm. And they were always finder's fees at this point. You weren't.
No. So actually, but the first, I would say the first few buildings was like a triplex, 2 triplexes. I had this was finder's fee and commission.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started the next building, was a 9plex. I started to reduce syndication.
Okay.
So
you want to explain what syndication is for those that don't understand the term?
So I would say syndication is basically, like I said at the beginning, getting a partner to manage your money, to manage your property. I would say it a little bit differently. I would say take the concept of real estate and divide it in 2 aspects. Investing in real estate and operating real estate. A lot of people mix these 2 things together because they think they can buy real estate without running it. It's only real estate, it's only a side job. And indeed it's true, but you don't know if you have another job, if you're tied up to something else, and suddenly you get a call that it's leaking, and there's Christmas night or there's New Year and there's no plumber to find, and you have no choice. You have to pick up your car, go down, try to find the main water valve, and pick up all your keys and search for the main water valve, at least to get it off, not to burst the build, not to freeze everything. It's a lot of headache. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of work for that. So when you take real estate investing versus real estate operation, it's two different things. Now, even when I buy myself, I have to consider myself, well, how much money do I put in? How much return on investment do I put in? And how much time do I spend without getting paid? That my time is valuable money, that if I get the return on investment for that time. Now, someone buys a property, if they want to run it themselves, then they have to know that this is going to take them a lot of effort, a lot of timing, even if it's only a small property, even if it's only a 10-plex, an 8-plex. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes people are not tied up with such a
other responsibilities,
busy, like they have other jobs, but the jobs are not committing them like fully 9 to 5, or they can fluctuate. Then it's good. If they want to enjoy it, they want to
be on the ground,
on the ground, or be available for this phone call on the Friday night or whatever, when they have this timing, then it's okay. But for people that don't want to get to that disturbance, or don't want to get this issue, but they still want to have the benefits of real estate investing. Now, what is the benefit of real estate investing? I would say stocks. Some people say like you can make in the S&P 500, you can make this, you can make almost the same thing. Now, it's true, you can make, but you're only making on your cash what you put in. You're not making on your financing.
There's no leverage.
Now, you could take a leverage account also of stocks. The problem with stocks is that if one day it goes down, you have to sell that day. Or you have to put in the cash that day. Otherwise, you lose your stock options. And they're going to sell it for you, and there's no way out. With real estate, even if it goes down one day, nothing happens. You can take the time till it
to recover,
to recuperate and recover and get back up. And you have the benefit of the financing, the leverage. And you have a real asset, not only a stock that you don't own, you don't know what it is, whatever goes on. In real estate, it's much more handy. You can see it. Now, if someone wants to get to this point, to the real estate investing, the real estate benefit, without needing the headache, with someone that will take care of it, that's where the syndication comes in. With syndication, we provide for the people something that is beneficial for them, something that's going to help them grow their money fast, and with a low risk, and with real estate are not volatile. For example, like multifamily unit in Montreal is like the lowest risk possible. I wouldn't say no risk, because we never say no risk, but as long people got born, there's a lot of immigrants coming in. And for example, let's talk about Montreal. Montreal is, in a certain understanding, it's the cheapest metropolitan city in North America. It has big universities, big hospitals. It's a massive city. It's not same as Manhattan of Miami, but it's still a lot of. It has the same concepts, but a smaller version.
4 major universities.
Yes, and I think the university we have in Montreal is the biggest. Like a lot of people, the whole world comes to university in Montreal.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest French university outside of France.
Yes. And also for example, a lot of doctors coming in here learning. There's a lot of things coming in here.
We're straying away. Let's get back to your your first deals. Like, I want to know how you got to 800 from a 5-plex in Laval. So you've done your first partnership on a 9-plex. So how did you structure it? Like, the other investor put up all the money and you got sweat equity in this, or how did you?
So what we did is, on that specific deal, the other investor put in all the down payment cash. We got financing. Yeah. Almost like that time the interest rate was a little bit better. So got about 75% conventional financing. The investor put in the whole amount of money. That time I didn't charge any fees, like management fees.
Yeah.
financing. In one thing, what else I did, because we got to talk about, I started to do the financing myself, to go to the banks, not using a mortgage broker.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to save time and get it quicker done. So my first deals, my giving in the deal was the management, getting the financing, getting everything with no charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't charge anything, and I got 25% equity from day one in the deal.
So how did you feel after that when you signed that term sheet?
So when I signed that term sheet, I wasn't ready in the middle of the next deal. So like I said before, if I always feel good about what I did,
Yeah.
so I felt very good about it. I felt excited that actually we did a syndication,
Mm-hmm.
first 9plex. And I did it with my partner. At that time I had my partner. And for him actually it was a second deal. He did some deal before me.
Okay.
But it was very exciting actually. It was very stressed. Like I remember the last few days before the closing, like what if the investor doesn't come with the money? What if? All this what ifs, like what if I wake up in the morning, I have to give like, what if he's not here? The money check is not there.
Yeah.
So when finally the signature arrived, I was very happy. But at the same time, I had a new responsibilities going on. Because now I have to deliver. Now it's on me to make sure that this money getting done. And this is one of kind of the strengths of me, that I always respect other people's money, and other people's money is like before my money even. This is my top priority. So instead of being happy, I would say some people are happy that they did the syndication. I was not happy because I want to see deliver the results.
Mm-hmm.
I was not even like, I was happy that I got to that point, but it actually took me a lot of responsibility of, now you have to deliver. Now's the time for you to make this happen. Mm-hmm. Because it's not only getting the deal closed, it's actually getting the results. But it was good. It's finally like we did something. And at the same time, we were already in the middle of the next deal, 10 unit. So it was in between the both.
How did you find your first investor?
I was actually, one of my friends referred me to him.
So it was friends and family at
Friends
first?
and family, yes.
And then you did a couple more deals.
Yes. So then we did, it was hard, a lot of deals. Not every deal was so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had to do another deal and we had to come up with investors, and we got to financing to the bank to get the financing. And when you have to juggle around between all these areas at this stage, because you have to get your financing approved because you don't have too much time. You have like 60 days for financing. Mm-hmm. And the investor, you cannot wait starting financing before you have investor, because then it takes too much time. So you have to play around between all the games. So we speak to the bank, we tell them like someone else is coming to file, but first let's get it approved. And once we get the investor, we'll update the file accordingly.
They don't like that.
What?
They don't like that.
They don't like that, but when you have a good relationship with the bank, it's always about the relationship. It's always about your relationship you have with the bank, your relationship you have with the people that they, so they know you, they know you have the capacity to close it yourself if you don't have an investor. Now, once we get to the final point, we had to update them an investor. And sometimes we had to sell the deal the last minute as well. Because the investor didn't want to come in the money, wanted to only buy the whole deal. Mm-hmm. So he gave us a finder's fee. We always had to play around with this game of allowing till the last minute. And it's a hard game. Yeah. It's not an easy game to go because it creates a lot of stress.
So like lots of balls at the same time in the air.
Same air.
It's like one thing I've learned through our journey, similar journey, is that you have to act. Like you don't have all the cards, but you still have to act, and you create a momentum, and that momentum makes other cards show up at some point. And you don't know when it's going to show up, but at some point you'll have all the pieces of the puzzle and it's going to work. And you didn't know if you'd have them in the first place. So you have to like take a shot, do things. And an investor of ours like told us like a good lesson when we started, like you have to do things in parallel. Like you start the financing, but you don't even know yet if you have the investor, and you do a few things at the same time, and at some point things will merge. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they will.
So actually, there's where it comes in faith.
Yeah.
We discussed in the beginning that where faith comes in, because you have to start doing the job and doing the work. But I would add a big point you said about you have to act a little bit. It's not only act, you have to really believe and be there, because if you need the investor to prove your deal, then you're acting kind of, I call it like a kid to the investor. And you need the investor to make you feel successful.
Mm-hmm.
And the investor feels that. And he doesn't want that. He wants that you should make him feel successful. You should give him the support. You should give him the confidence and the clarity that he is investing by you the right place. He can trust you. Mm-hmm. But if the only way he can trust you is by giving you money, if you need him to make you feel worthy, mm-hmm. then he won't give you the money. Yeah. That's a big challenge where I saw a lot of times that if you want to get to this point, you have to get to the reality, to the strength and the confidence that you're going to make it happen.
Yeah, money doesn't go down, goes up.
It goes up, right.
Yeah.
Right. And when the investor feels that, and he can really see that you are you can say the father, but it's not the father figure, it's like the confident leader that mm-hmm. he can rely on.
The leader,
then he can give you the money. And if you show him that you're desperate for his money, that means you're not a leader. So how can he trust you?
Mm-hmm. What's the biggest deal you've done so far?
My biggest deal I've done was, we've done a few big deals. What was 200-door portfolio.
Amongst, spread amongst how many properties?
I think it was 19 buildings.
19?
Yeah.
That's a big endeavor.
Yeah.
19 roofs.
90 roofs. And it was actually very exciting, this deal. And yes, there's also, we did 120 units.
One building?
Two buildings, actually.
Two buildings.
And that was also very good. This was two buildings. It was an easier deal because it was only two buildings, and you had a good investor for that. So yes, this was exciting.
And what's the deal you're the most proud of?
There was one deal what we had was the most stressful deal, but it was not a syndication, but it was a flip.
Okay.
And it was a lot of stress because, like I said at the beginning, we have to play the game. So we bought a land it's probably in the news. I don't know if it was in the news. It's about 3-4 years ago. We had accepted offer on a big land in Bicancourt. And we had to come up with about $12 million in cash to close because there was no financing, but it was a really good deal. It was over 10 million square feet. And there was really I remember this time it was 3 months stress of you had to risk your deposit,
mm-hmm.
you had to put in going forward.
How big was the deposit?
It was $100,000 deposit, the notary. And then we had some investors coming in there. We had sitting with meetings with contractors, with developers, how to develop the land. And there was some people saying, no, you are dreaming, it's not a good deal. And the seller wanted to back out as well because he realized that it gave us a little bit too good price. And the last week we had to was a lot of energy involved, and that was a lot of work, last minute work, that finally we finalized our investor and we came up with the whole money in that day. And that land we had a big investors, big team. I won't go into details now, but it was like a $12-13 million deal, $40 million deal. And then a year and a half later, it was sold for $35 million.
Wow.
And we are I wasn't a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a small part of it, but at least it was good money for us.
So you you flipped the
I
$12
flipped the
million
deal, basically.
deal, or you
No, I
you
flipped.
weren't-
Basically, I flipped the $12 million deal. I got a good finder's fee.
Yeah,
And then they sold it
and
the rest.
they doubled or tripled it.
They tripled their money. So I was very happy for myself how much I got.
Yeah.
And I was very happy for them
Mm-hmm.
that they able to get it. And I will give you an example how last minute stress comes in and how we need to figure it out, because the seller was very strict on the closing day. And there was like, he said, if you're not 5 o'clock signed on that day, there's no closing.
Yeah.
And even though he was not right, because a closing date is not rigid, like there's no way to back out of a deal because a
Yeah, it
closing
was
date.
not a.
It's not a-
the time was not of the essence.
Yeah, but still, we didn't want to get into
Yeah.
that point. And what happens was that on the company of the offer, we had a shell company to do the offer, and we need the GST and QST numbers activated in that company, because on the land you need the GST QST number. Otherwise, you have to pay GST and QST at the closing. You need another 15%, and then you get it back later. But it's a whole
It's a lot of money on 12
a
million.
lot of money, and it's a whole hassle. And I registered online a few days before for the GST and QST number in Quebec, but they didn't process it. And it was very hard to get it. And I was trying to call Revenue Quebec the same day, and there was no answer. Like trying to get someone who speaks English, and to get someone to help me with that. But finally, thank God, I got someone, older person in the Revenue Quebec on the phone, and I told them very honest, I need your help. I am in a deal now, and I registered for that, and I can't allow myself not to have the GST and QST number today. And I'm trying back and forth. And he was like an older person. He was like very helpful. Said, okay, I can help you. And back and forth calls. And then an hour later, he calls me back with the numbers.
Nice.
And this was kind of also like, I remember that stage, I was like, I have to get this number. There was no choice. There was no choice for me saying, okay, I don't have the number. We'll figure out another way. No, this is plan A, and this has to become.
So, when in this journey did you get this moment where you knew what was the business you were building? Because I know when we start in real estate, it was probably similar to you. Like you flip a deal, you find this deal, you do your first syndication. You're exploring. You don't exactly know what your business is about yet. You're trying to find your way in this business. Is there a moment in all of this where you knew what your business model was, and that was the start, and that's when you started, copy pasting and like building a business around that?
It's a very good question. And I would say, first I'll say it in one word, and then we'll get to the real answer. I think there's never such a time.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, imagine yourself sitting in a small place. You have only a tiny window to look out. Now you can only see whatever is fitting if you can see this tiny window. But once you go out of this box, you go to the bigger box, right away you see new things that you didn't see before. And as the life evolves, as business evolves, you always have a wider vision. You can see new things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you build with energy, with drive, of building, of making impact on the world and helping other people, helping business, being set up for your own family, your kids, helping your community, you're always going to see a bigger picture than you saw yesterday. Now, I would say, for example, when I started and I didn't have a management team, I was doing it myself. I was doing the financing. I was doing it myself, me and my partner. And I remember this first nineplex, what I spoke, we had to submit the file to the bank, and it was like a rush. It was a Thursday night. We sat in the office from 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night just to get all the paperwork ready. And we said, we're not going home before this is not sent into the bank. And was no team, was no company, was nothing. It was just me and him.
Yeah.
And then we did the management, went to the contractors, to the janitors, take care of painting. Everything was done myself. And gradually, as we grow, we hired the manager, we hired the bookkeeper. And I remember like my first time, like we opened the QuickBooks. First we did only Excel sheet. And putting it into QuickBooks was a whole hassle. We had the accountant, sitting the accountant to make sure everything is in QuickBooks because we started like very, very little. And as we grow, we'll always see the bigger picture. Now, when someone else looks back on me, say, oh, wow, you have a management company, you have a financing company, you have all the companies. But I never see when I built it. I only see what happened after. So when I look back, oh, okay, this is what I built, this is what I built. But I see that in the bigger picture, how to build a bigger business than that. Now, what I said before, we need partnership. We need people to grow with us together, that they could keep the systems up to date and grow it, that we should have the right proper system. So when it came to management, for example, I always know that I need a management company myself. Why? Because I say always this word, if a building goes good, you don't really need a management company. You don't need help too much. But when it goes bad, nobody can help you really. So when you have the own team and you are the control of it, you can make sure that it is put in a lot of effort. I'm not saying there's not good managements outside. There is good management companies.
Good point. I like that.
Yeah, but I like that concept that you want to make sure that in order to control your investors' money, in order to be respective, to know it, you have to know the business. You have to know the in and outs where you can save money, because there's a lot of things you can save money. You can buy material for cheaper. There's a lot of things that you save money. Now, sometimes I use a management company because I know people that I know I can trust and I know they're good, but that's a concept. So when it comes to building, I look back on myself, oh, I built that. Oh, nice, okay, tap yourself in the back. But like I said, my goal is always to grow and to be bigger. Now, I know that the way to grow to be bigger is by delegating the jobs, getting other people on team where they are the level where they are, that they can grow as well. But I think how we have to phrase it is that you always have to be in the growing mode. If you're not in flow, if you're not growing, like look at a human body. If your heart is not operating for 1 second, you're dead. You always have to fluctuate. It has to grow. And at the same time, you have to make sure that it's getting systemized, it's getting taken care of, that nothing should fall down, fall aside.
So I want to understand how you see real estate investments. I'd like to understand first, like, what would you consider or how would you define risk in your industry?
So when it comes to risk, I would like to define it in a few stages. First of all is the risk of losing capital. Second thing is risk of making profit. How much profit to make? Now, when it comes to that, some people define it like, okay, what is the risk I can lose my capital? What is the risk? What is the good upside I will make 100% of my money, double my money? How much is the percentage I make 50% of my money? We have to define all these steps. So the way I look at it is the first thing is my capital. Is this risky or is this safe? Now, once we have defined that stage, then we can see what is the good side up, how much percent chance do we have stage 1, how much percent chance do we have stage 2, and how much percent chance do we have stage 3, like best case scenario.
Yeah. So probabilities.
So what is the best case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? And what is the medium case scenario? Like I said, but the first of everything is the risk of losing capital. Now, when it comes to this point, there is a saying in real estate, in multifamily at least, that you never pay too much for a property. You might buy it early. What this means is that let's say you have a property, the price is 200 a door, 195, 190. Today's days, coordination, you go outside of Montreal, it's a little bit cheaper, 170, 180 a door. Now, let's say you overpaid with 10,000. You did a mistake of overpaying. It's not a mistake that you might lose money. It's a mistake that might keeps you longer to make profit.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is you didn't buy too high, you bought too early. Because in 2 years from now, this price would be a normal price or even good price. So maybe you did a mistake, but at least you didn't lose capital so much and you could wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it comes. So that's when it comes to multifamily, I would say if you keep yourself in the low market, in the mid market, most of the times you're not losing capital. Now you have to watch not to overpay because you might overpay $225, $250 a door, and then you're not be able to sustain it to get to the point to get back your capital, or you might have to sell it for a loss. Most of the time, that's not the situation. Versus when it comes to, before we're going to speak about commercial, just when it comes to even to new construction properties or condos, this kind of stuff is, after all, they're competing with old buildings. But when it comes to new construction, you're paying much, much higher. Now you're getting a Cadillac, you're getting a good object, a good item, but you still might overpay. It's going to take longer to recover.
Yeah.
So that's why I normally stay away of buying new construction. I would consider developing. I'm actually developing some projects as we go, because at developing you have the control and you can do it from day one. But when you buy the new construction project, it's more as a turnkey project. First of all, there's no much space to
create value,
create value add, because the value is there, and the risk might be much harder. Now, another point regarding risk, I like to consider mid-market, not high market, not low market, mid-market. Because when you look at an apartment in downtown, you pay $3,500, $4,000 rent. How many percentage of the population could afford this amount? Versus you go mid-market, or even not low market, but medium to low market, there's much bigger population that could afford that rent. So your risk is automatically much lower.
Yeah. And if market dips, well, you have all the market above it that can still afford it.
And what I see as well is when it comes to mid-market, there's, again, I might be wrong, but I think there's more chances to make much more money. The roof is higher than the high market.
Totally agree.
So that's why I'm talking about the risk of multifamily properties. Mm-hmm. So in general, multifamily by itself is a low risk item.
Yeah.
When you consider the mid market and now the high market and the good buildings, old buildings but good buildings, you most of the time are very in a safe zone.
Mm-hmm.
A safe zone versus to lose money, lose capital. And this is the focus, I would say, should be for everyone, as pension plans, scholarship plans. Yeah. I would say, like, I see, like, a lot of people invest in QPI funds and pension, in like scholarship and RSPs, all this kind of stuff, but they never get even close to what we receive in real estate. They put in over a period of 10, 15 years, not even close. Mm-hmm. It's like, in real estate, we get over 10-year model, you get like 5 times your money most of the time, because it goes on, and depends on the deal, depends on the circumstances, but it's definitely much more than going into much more than just this basic savings account. Mm-hmm. Now, as we keep it in the low risk band. Now it comes to the second part of the profit potential probability, let's call it, is then we had the same thing. This low mid markets, there's a lot of space to optimize it, to create value, because like I said, the old buildings have a lot of challenges, and once you increase the living environment, you make a better living house, make more services, you're entitled to get more income, and eventually income grows, and you have more space to optimize it and to get the higher rent.
That's it. That's what I always say. That's why we pick value add. It's because the top market, let's say it's $2,000 for a 4.5, which would be the top market for regular 4.5 renovated. Let's say that one stalls for the next 5 years, and like it's a worst case scenario. But for
Yes.
5 years, it stays at 2,000. But you buy buildings where the 4.5 rents for 1,000.
Right.
You have a $1,000
Gap.
upside gap. That's plenty enough to grow for the next 5 years, even if the market was to stall for 5
If
years.
the market stays as is,
That's
you
it.
still have time to get to this
That's
point.
it. And so every time a tenant leaves, you can renovate, increase rent, you can improve amenities, etc. So you have space to grow inside the building, even in a market that doesn't grow.
It doesn't grow. Correct.
And
100%.
so that's the beauty of value add, I find. And that's why we don't buy anything new as well.
Right.
Or we didn't ever look into building. That's a different beast.
Yes.
But it's a good point. So what's the first like 2 or 3 things you look at when you get a deal in your inbox? Like, how do you like just from a listing in your inbox? Like, how do you tell it's a good deal versus a bad deal?
So, there's a concept of the back of the napkin the calculation.
What's your
So,
back of the napkin?
My back of the napkin is price per door, price per square feet. Like before I look at numbers, before I look at income, I look price per door, price per square feet. And I would say my number one priority is, most people don't look at it that way, but I think that's my niche and I love to share it with everyone. Price per square feet. No, because the way I describe it is, everything is changeable except the square footage. If you have a building, you have 100 doors, you can make it 80 doors, you can make it 120 doors. You have the income, the cap rate, you can increase the rent, you can decrease the rent, you can make everything. But square footage is there, this is the fact. And this is something that you can't play around with. You have what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to have an easy way to see your potential and to see if it's in line, if you take the price per door, price per square feet together, and you see the average, you see the numbers where you play around, you right away know if you're in line, if you're above line. So let's say, give an example. Let's say a property, if it's $225 a door, and the price per square feet is like higher than 300, 270, 260 to 300, that means that you're a little bit pricey on the door, and you're pricey on the square footage. So it means you have automatically, it gives me the attention that it's small apartments. And automatically, there's not much potential too much to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is the first priority to look at before you make any Excel sheets, before you know, even you don't have to know the numbers for that.
Square footage is not an easy figure to get oftentimes. Like,
So I have to rely on the city's website.
Okay.
Again, it's we're talking about the first.
It's gross square footage,
Yeah.
right? You're taking in like into account the commons, everything. You're just looking at the square footage
of the
like,
plate.
the plate, the square. Yeah. Okay.
Right. But it's not important for me in that stage to know the exact square footage by apartment, because it's just to give me an idea where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically comparing apple to apple, because you have so many deals.
Yep.
So most of the time, the first thing I look at, I take the city's website, I put in the address, what is the square footage? And another important thing to know, what I had a lot of problems with that. A lot of people, they come to you, say it's 40 units, 35 units, 30 units. You go on the city's website, you see a different number. So right away shows you that might be some units are not legal or recognized, so you can't use it for the bank for financing. You can't use it for anything. So that's the first thing to know. So when you look on the city's website, you see the number of units, you see the number of square footage. It's not always accurate, the square footage in the city's website, but at least to give you a glimpse what's going on here. Now, I will tell you a story I had. It's important to know, everyone, that the city's website is not reliable at all on the unit number as well. I had one of my stories was I had a hard story of that. I bought a sixplex, and the sixplex were on the city's website. It was 6 unit, And I knew that the zoning is not for 6 unit anymore, but we know that there's a grandfather clause that you have the permit, that you have it built. It's you have the right. Now, if there's a fire, it burns down, then you don't have the right to build back 6 units, only 2 unit or 4 unit. But what happens is, after we had to do some renovations, construction, they went to the city, and we found out the city says there was never 6 unit permit at all. It's only 4-plex. So I said, what do you mean? Like, I showed them the tax bills. 6 units. Said the tax bill doesn't count. Tax bill doesn't count, and we're trying to work around with the city and to get a 6-unit permit. They were trying to help us. We even showed them leases from 20 years ago. Like, we called the old owners and we had this, but this was the name of the game. At the end of the game, we sold this building for a loss.
Shit. Never figured out.
No, it was. And what we decided is, I sold the building and I put it clearly, it's a 4-plex. And I told the buyer, this is a 4-plex, like even you see 6 apartments. I don't want to take any responsibility on that. I'm telling you, I'll be very honest from day one.
Yeah.
I don't want to, you come back to me at lower price. We lost money on that, but I was like, okay, stop the bleeding. It's good. Get over it. So I got experience that even the city's website is not enough to calculate for the long term, but at least to give you a glimpse.
Doesn't the notary verify that on the title study?
No, not a permit. Now the point is,
so now you try and find the construction permits.
You don't have to. You can just most of the time you can just call the city, the zoning department.
Okay, so you can check on the zoning.
The zone, not the actual zone, not the public zoning. The zoning department. If there's now. This case doesn't case like when it's a multifamily building, most of the time it's not a problem because the zoning is there. Mm-hmm. And as a building from 35 units to 40 units, it doesn't change so much.
Okay.
Because the zoning is there, and if there's no permit, the city will give you a permit because the zoning is there. We had the issue with 4-plex and 6-plex, where it was more kind of it's the 2 apartments in the basement. The city said, we never allow apartments in the basement. So this was the issue that we had to face. And like I said, we lost money, but at least we started bleeding. And I always say we didn't lose money, we invested money in a new experience.
And look, we've lost money on deals before. One deal. We've lost money on one deal. We've lost a lot of money on that deal.
Wow.
But it was a flip. It was not a proper multifamily deal. So at least it's not hurting our multifamily track record. But yeah, they're expensive lessons. You learn. Right. You and especially when you lose money, you learn.
You learn very much.
It's like engraved very deeply in your memory, and you never do it again.
You never do it again. You're like you don't want to go that direction. That direction is something you will make sure not to cross anymore.
That's it. So that's where experience.
There's a common story that was one of a big CEO of a company that made a massive mistake, and the company lost a lot of money. And this guy was like, okay, I'm going to get fired. So he came into his boss right away and said, okay, sorry, thank you. I go out, said, why? You're never going to fire me, so why should I fire you? Because look how much money I lost. So it says like this, human people make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Now you lost that money, you made that mistake, you have the experience of it. Now, if I paid so much money in that experience, let me keep you.
I love that.
Yeah, this is a whole concept. The way to look at it, not as a loss, as okay, you lost money. It's an investment, but at least you can take it and develop on it.
It reminds me of that Japanese tradition with the broken pots. You know, they fill the crack to repair the pot with gold, and that's a symbol because a crack, a broken bone, a broken pot, it's lessons, it's experience. So it's golden, right? And they use gold to repair them.
By our community, it's a common phrase that when something breaks at home, like glass, anything breaks, we say right away, congratulations. Because a broken glass shows that something good's coming.
after the storm.
Yes, after the storm. Now we get to this point of going there.
Talking about your community, like anything you've noticed, like you've done business with your community, but also like plenty of business outside of your community. Like,
Yes.
do you see something that Jewish real estate investors do differently and better that like we should learn from? Any hidden tips like on how to do business?
It's I think the main focus is that we push very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's like Jewish community people more, but people say when how we live. Like I have 7 kids.
You have 7
I
kids.
have 7 kids.
Wow.
Thank God. And my wife is working with the kids, helping me, and I work with the kids as well. And it comes in the faith, what I said to begin with. But we have faith and we believe that everything gonna be in the good shape. And we're here for a mission, for long-term mission. We're not here just to create wealth and fame. We're here to create something and to build something. God brought us in this world to bring something and to build something. Now, the a lot of times you need to take risk in business. Now, why should someone take risk? The only thing you have to take is because you have to. You have no choice.
Yeah. No risk, no reward.
No risk, no reward. But the question is always, what is the opposite? So when you're pushed to in a situation where you have to deliver, you have no choice, then you go take the risk. You take this, you make this deal happen. You sign the offer. Even you don't have no idea where you're going to end it. You have no idea where you're going to finish it. But there's no question, no choice. And that's why I can do like, I can go forward and push forward because I have whom to work for.
So you'd say that's
I would say that's a big point.
That's a way of investing that's different.
Yeah. And again, we have, I don't know exactly what we have. We understand things differently. Like I'm sure it's kind of, I would say, imagine my age having 7 kids. It's going through the challenge of everything. Everything's a challenge. So we get a lot of experience.
You're tough, for sure.
Yes. And I was brought up in a home with 10 kids.
Wow.
And the same thing, my wife. But there's so much good things in family life. You have no idea. Family life.
I'll think about you tomorrow when I'm struggling with my one child, trying to get him ready to go to daycare. Like, there's not 6 more.
So I would say like this. I would say it's kind of giving up control and doing the best you can. Because
embracing chaos.
And you know, there's a lot of people talking now on this concept, and I want to elaborate on this concept as well. We were brought up in a system that everyone has to check the box. And the way we brought up, school, 9 to 5, system, everything is like, if you don't check the box, if you don't get 100 on your test, then you're a failure.
Yeah.
Now, even we know these times that all the big people, they never got 100 on the test. All the big wealthy people, like you can check online, anything, they never got 100 on the test. But the system, the perception by most people is that you have to match the box.
You have to perform in the system to be successful.
In the system. Now, the system doesn't teach you how to make wealth because it doesn't make sense. Like anything you do, if it's risk, the system tell you can't do it. I have a friend that always tells me like, I want to go into real estate. I said, okay, one thing you have to take risk. So he says, okay, tell me what the risks are. I said, that's your problem. When you take risk, you don't know what the risks are. You definitely have to prioritize. You have to take steps, low risk. But there's a point where you have to
take a leap of faith.
And say like, I go. I don't know everything in and out. So when it comes to what I started it with building up family life and getting forced to, so the system wants us to conform and be this kind of stuff. Now I was a kid that always had 100 on my test because I had the brains for it, but I still always had the urge for more. Now, when you go into your child with this mindset that you have to perform or in order to prove the system, to be checkbacks, the child rejects it because the child asking, I want to be accepted the way I am. And that's a common like in about inner child work, that the inner child always want to be successful, want to be accepted, not successful, want to be accepted and want to be good for who they are. And even if I fail the test, even if I don't go to school 9 o'clock. And when we come in with this mindset that we have to be successful, we have to be this, otherwise you're a failure, the kids feel it and they reject it. They say, no, you have truth to yourself, even if you don't check the box. So when we have, and a lot of times also like when you have one kid, 2 kids, like you have to, it's easier to check the boxes. But when you have more kids, you have to give up control. And then the child can grow. And
I love it.
And grow more and elaborate. But it's going to be a continuous struggle because even if you're going to check all the boxes, there's still going to be a place to say, I want more, I want more. And there where the creativity comes out. But in general concept, this is the general concept that if you know that you don't have to perform, you don't have to be a certain kind of, you want to be a certain kind of. You want to perform because you would like to be, not because you need it for your survival.
So how would you describe your parenting style? Like, what's your style as a father? I know it might not look like a business question,
Okay.
but it still is, because I want to learn about your business afterwards and your culture and your leadership style. But how do you how would you describe yourself as a father?
As a father of 7 kids, I always think about them. I always connect to them. I'm there for them whenever they need me. Sometimes even I'm not available to pick up the phone for them. But first of all, I'm not traveling a lot because I always, like I travel once in a while, but most of the time I'm home. Not home, like not in the day, but at night. I come home, be there for them and take care. Like I have a partner, my wife. She is mainly home. She's not working. So that's also a different kind of, like my wife is not, like she has small jobs there, but officially she's not working. Now she had the baby, like 7 months, like she's still on maternity leave. But what I would say as a way of parenting 7 kids is kind of, there's a good quote I heard. I love all my kids equally. That's why I treat them differently. Because there's always one kid that is more extrovert, more introvert. Kids is more exciting, more slow, like all this kind of natures. And you have to be able to attune yourself to each kid, where they at and where they want to grow. So you said as a leader to a company, as a leader to anything, any leadership skill you want to know is be able to attune to the situation and take the person as a coach, for example, a therapist, anyone, take the place from step 1 to step 2 where they are. If you come in that you have to be, imagine coming to your 5-year child and say they have to be able to drive a car. They're not in that stage. Now, but you definitely wanted your 5-year child to go from where he is, which stage he is in life, to go one step forward. If he can maybe behave a little bit better, maybe clean up after himself, whatever he could do in his life, you want to give him a push because otherwise he will stay a child. You don't want that. And the way to be able to do it for your kids is you need to give yourself a lot of space. To give yourself to work on your own self, your own challenges. If you're getting too angry on your kids, it means you have a lot of anger in yourself. So you want to work it out. You want to check in about it. What is your anger about? Whom are you angry? Because if your kid spills milk and you scream on it, you're not angry at your kid because he's a kid, you know that. So why are you angry? There is anger in your body that you didn't process. So kids are a lot of time a reflection to what you have to work on.
I love that.
And that's the way, when you come into that way, then you can clean up yourself from your own emotional turmoil, your own emotional challenges, and you can tune in your kid. What do they need from me now to grow from step 1 to step 2 in their stage?
How do you make sure to keep tidy in your soul so that you have space for your kids? Do you have a routine, a ritual, your faith maybe? Like, what's your and business brings a lot of turmoil also
Yes.
in our soul because we're taking risk. We don't always know what's going to happen. It creates tension, right? We don't want to unleash that tension on our family. What's your recipe? What's your process?
Yeah. So there's a few processes to that. As a religious spirituality, I pray every day, 3 times a day to God. And praying is a time of reconnecting and like recharging yourself, getting plugged into the charger, connected to your source. And at the same time, I do go a lot of coaching, and I go to breath work, breathing therapy, and all this kind of space. Give yourself the space. Allow yourself to go to the gym, go to the sauna, go to the out of friends once a week. Enjoy yourself. Give yourself the proper time your soul needs. So it's on both sides. It's on the spirituality side, like meditation, praying, connecting emotionally, being in a higher vibrancy. And same thing as the child. Your inner child, what the inner child needs is hang out with friends and enjoy yourself, let go. So when you go on the weekend, you go out to friends, and you go in the gym, you go in the sauna, you go out for a supper. It's kind of like let go and actually give yourself the space you need. And it's kind of way of telling yourself you're good enough, even if you don't deliver.
Well, it seems like you've got a lot on your plate, though. 7 kids plus this business. Like, you still manage to find space for yourself. I know, like, well, everything that, pray, like, you practice Shabbat, so you don't work Friday to Sunday, Friday night, Friday evening to
Friday
Sunday.
evening till Saturday night.
So at least you have that space.
And by the way, you mentioned about the idea of, I think this is something what Jewish people have, and the idea of disconnection, totally. Like, because some people would say like, okay, you take off a day of work, why no phones, no light, you don't put on the light, nothing. And what I think is that when you force yourself to have a vacation, to relax, and not even a light you can't put on, this is very good for us, for our body, for our souls, to reconnect and to allow ourselves to open up and to fully connect. And it's really like, a lot of times I want to have a time like this in the middle of the week that I'm allowed to touch a phone.
You'd like more Shabbat.
Yeah, because I want to have like let me be in a time, because if you could, even if you take, let's say you take 2 hours, you put off your phone, but you can put it on if you want. When it comes to Shabbat, I know there's no choice.
Yeah, it's easier when it's like
no choice, no way
so
out
much
of it.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I envy you for having that in your life. I think it's very healthy. Good, great answer. I appreciate it. I really connect with that. It speaks to me. So, how would you describe your leadership style, or what does your team look like right now?
So right now we have a little bit smaller team. Like, I opened up Abe Lam Realty a year and a half ago. Used to work with my partner, Mr. Kraus, Mastermind Realty Group. There we did the most of our acquisition. And a year and a half, we opened Abe Lam Realty. This was
with your partner, Mr. Kraus?
No,
this one is yours.
We separate. He took over the Mastermind Realty Group, and I started a new company.
Okay.
And so we start slowly building even a new area, new lanes going. So as of now, we have about 5 people on our team. We have.
When you say we, you have a partner?
No, myself. I call myself we.
Okay, you and your team. Like,
instead of saying I say we.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, me and my
team.
No,
but I wasn't sure. Like,
no, I don't have a partner now. I have partners in certain, like my buildings. I have partners.
Yes.
I have other companies. I still have a partnership.
Investors.
Even with Mr. Kraus, I still have the partnership in a financing company.
This name sounds very familiar. I feel I might have cold called
Mr.
him in the past.
Mastermind Realty Group.
That all sounds familiar.
Yeah, we did it together. We started together, and he's very good. We did a lot of good things together, and we built the whole company. And then it came time to go each our own journey forward. So we still have like we working for providing financing for people.
Okay.
And that I'm still a partner in that company. I'm not involved in that on day-to-day basis, but I'm a partner in that. And new deals. So I have now about, like I say, 5 people in my office to have someone hunting on deals, underwriting the deals, making sure everything. I am put a lot of stress and effort that everything should be verified by ourselves. Don't trust anyone. And like people can tell you a lot of things. This property, like I said, 40 units and it's only 38. 43 units, only 42. There's a lot of things that could happen, and we always have to verify this very clearly. So this is a lot of effort. I have 2 people on this, and then I have another 2 people taking care of the management, day-to-day operations. And now we start to build up also the syndication team to open up for more people to invest. So that's what I was working on the last few months. I going out to people, show for people my success, my experience, and to give them a safe space where they can trust and just call up. I have $300,000. You have something invested. Okay, sign up. Make it easy, very simple. And at the same time to guide them on all the process that they should be able to build the wealth without having to take the headache, what I went through the last 8 years on themselves. And eventually, hopefully, we're growing this to a very big company to do higher deals and bigger deals. But my focus is always to take it to a space that nothing should be left behind. Even the small investors should get the same respect and the same guidance what they need to get in their level.
So about your investors, like, what do you look for in an investor apart from they have money to invest? Like, is there anything else that you're looking for when you're picking the right investors for your projects?
So this question is a very good question, because some people confuse between investors, partners, and JVs, joint venture. Now, when I look at invested, I look at him totally as an investor. Meaning to say, for example, a doctor, a professional, a businessman, anyone.
Going back to what you, like this distinction you were making at the beginning of the interview between investing and operating.
Right.
You're the operator.
I'm the operator. And I want to service people that are not in real estate. Now, I know right away, if someone comes to me and is real estate, I tell them right away, why do you come to me? Like, do it yourself. My job is to give opportunity for people that are not in the real estate industry to save their money in the real estate and to have a trusted place. So, for example, someone makes money in online business. Someone makes money as a doctor, as a lawyer, as anything. Even real estate brokers. Even they do real estate, but they don't operate real estate. They do sales. It's a different kind of ball game what they do. Now, when they make money every year, they want to invest that. They know they have what they need to live, but they know also they want to have a pension plan. Now they go to the bank, they do RESPs, TFSAs, but it's still not enough. It still doesn't give you the same leverage that real estate, what I can give you when you invest in Abe Lam Realty. So these people, they want to know that they own a building and they have the trusted person, the trusted company that they can rely on.
So when you're looking for an investor, you want it to be in that spirit.
Yeah, it's to say it clearly, be very clear that this guy looking for my product. I'm not trying to persuade someone else to put in my deal what he's not looking for this product.
Let's talk about wealth.
Okay.
Why is wealth important to you? Like, you work at building your own wealth through real estate, but helping others, like that's your business model, helping other build wealth in real estate. Why do you think wealth is important?
There's a common phrase by Jewish people that when someone asks you a question, you answer with another question. So before we're going to in why we need the wealth, the question is what is wealth?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question before that, before we can describe why we need wealth.
Yeah. Why is
Now, most people look at wealth having a lot of money and be able to support anything. But as we said in the beginning, people always want to get more. I would say wealth is the place where you're okay. You want to get more, but you're okay where you are. And because you can see multimillionaire people that are fighting about this expensive car or this antique item. And when they go home from an auction, let's say it wasn't, I don't know all this stuff, but let's take example, let's take an old antique car that is worth like a few $1,000,000, 10 million. They're going to auction and they lost it. They are depressed. Why? Because they want to have that car. But you have so much other things. You're a multimillionaire, you're making money, you have business, you have a house, you have enough money for your kids. Because they don't have wealth.
they have money?
They have money, but money doesn't give you wealth. So what I would say is, comes back to my original point about faith, about trusting that wealth is when you can be okay where you are, even you still want to grow. Because don't forget, there's some people that are like lazy, let's call it, that they say, I'm okay where I am, I don't want to grow, I'm happy. But that's not true. They're not really happy. They're saying they're happy because the burden of going out and being more, doing work, like wake up in the morning, go out of bed and take risk, is too much for them. So they choose to say that they're happy the way you are. But in reality, if they would be more aligned with themselves, they would be okay with really okay, then they will be happy to grow. So when it comes to wealth, I don't look at money as the wealth. Money is a tool, it's a good tool. You want to have it. And the more your vision widens, the more your understanding on life, on everything widens up, that wealth is not the money. Wealth is yourself, your spirituality, your meditation, being with your family and kids. Now, automatically, you will attract more money and you will attract better deals. Because people like to deal with someone that is good mood, happy, understanding, accepting, not triggered every minute and not angry. And people call out to you, people reach out to you. The universe showed many times that when someone is in that state, people just call them up, I have a deal for you. I want to invest with you. I admire you. And the reason is because these people, they want this real wealth. And they don't even know how to pronounce it, how to describe it, what the real wealth is, but that's what they want. And when they see it, when their subconscious see that you have it, they're going to be attracted right away. And automatically you're going to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is wealth, basically. Now, once you go into that direction, you make a lot of money. You do big deals because you take risk, you take ownership. No risk, no reward. More risk, more reward. But I would say another point, if your wealth is like, if you don't get the money, then you're not wealthy, then the wealth is like, the money has to make sure that you're wealthy, then you're not going to get it. It's such a big burden on yourself, on the universe, that it's not going to work.
I love it. So what do you want to, like, what do you want your children to learn business wise from you? Like, what do you want to give the next generation?
So there's a few things what I want to give. First of all, myself, I want to build a lot of space for people to allow themselves to build their own self.
Mm-hmm.
This is through money, because they need to get money in order to be able to build. They need money. We have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
We need money. And
money is energy.
Money is energy. Money is the fuel. You need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the motor, but it's the fuel. And with no fuel, you can drive a car even if you have a good motor. So I want to give the space for them to be able to have the space to get in business. And like I said, I'm a leader. My nature is a leader, and I want to help people grow. And when I see this, I want to see people evolve from day one to from stage A, B, C, going up and up every year. And the same thing I want to see with my kids. I want my kids should grow up getting better and better, take the risk, go out and change the world. That's my goal for the next generation. So I want to prepare people. I want to be able to help people emotionally. I want to be able to help people whatever they needs to be done, because I have a feeling for that, and I feel this is my mission. In the same time, help them money, help them grow their wealth, so they should have the fuel to grow their wealth.
I like that your previous business was called Mastermind. Was it on purpose that you think, all of this group of investors should create a mastermind, should be a mastermind? To me, a mastermind, a mastermind is a group of people meeting regularly to advance their each other's causes, but together, where they can meet. And so was it called this way for that purpose as well?
Yes. It was called for this way, to actually get people on, to bring out the idea that we're trying to help people together. It's not like I am this. Sometimes when you want to help people, you have to become a leader and you have to take the driver's seat. But you don't want to take the driver's seat and just run with the driver's seat. You want to have everyone together. So it's the kind of being a leader and being together.
So what's your vision for Abe Lam?
Abe Lam Realty.
Abe Lam Realty. So for your business, where do you see it in 10 years? I know you tell me that window keeps opening and the vision expands. But sitting where you are right now, where do you see the business in 10 years?
So there's a few subjects where I see the business going, and this is my focus, my planning. The sphere is like I said, I want to build leaders. I want to build people. More than building the company, I want to build people. So my vision is actually, let's say, I have a lot of the energy, the space to give to people, to pick up phone calls, to deal with the investors, to make sure they're secure, they're safe, they get their needs, what they want. Now, my goal is to build this system that it should be able to scale. Now, I want to build people under me that should be able to do this work as well. Because technically, I'm 24. I'm outbinded by the time. I'm only a human being.
Yep.
But if I can build people under myself to do this work and to help people and to give them the space they need and to build them, that is very important for me. So let's say dealing with investors, dealing with people that can invest, put in 200,000, 500,000, to be able to scale this on a level to be able to accept much more investors, because I cannot even accept all investors that come my way because I'm only one deals. So if I can build this like a pyramid, build this gradually and get people under me that I can guide them and they can guide the investors what to do and give them the space, so I can have a full team of doing the syndication. Same thing when it comes to property management, to acquisitions. Getting a team to do it and making sure that it's getting done the proper way, the right way, and they follow my intuition, my guidance, and they can build their own tuition because they have their own tuition. They just didn't acknowledge it. They didn't open up to it.
Yeah.
But really, they have it. A lot of people today's days, they don't use their mind so much because they're following rules. Now, when they come to my employees, I challenge them. I made them to think out of the box. Now, eventually, they'll be able to do this on their own and will be able to grow with it. So what I see my business being as, I wouldn't say a community, but but my goal is to have, let's say, like you're talking now, but when I'm not talking about the big window, is to have my full syndication team that dealing with investors, getting the investment, having a team, that acquisition team, to get the deals, to underwrite them, to take care from signing the offer, from getting the lead till closing, and then they have the management team that would take care of everything from once we close.
Yep.
And I look at it as three teams that together can build a big power. And that's where the vision is now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when like in measurables, like how much are you buying per year?
So I used to buy, let's say, about 20, 30 million a year, 40 million. I want to go up this. But it's not only going up, it's like I said, more systemize it and make it on a structure to scale it.
So you'd be buying
I want to
100
buy
million
100
a year.
million, 200 million, the most possible a year, as long there's not more energy. It's actually getting less headache because it's getting easier systemized and more people know about it. Now more people know me, more people see me and they connect to it. It's a kind of, I would say it's an energy what people connect to me. What I give the world something that people could connect and could accept it, and then they getting into this feed.
It's exciting.
It's good plans.
I love it. I love a good vision.
Yes.
And you walk the talk too. Like you've done like a lot of acquisitions already.
Yes.
You've built a lot of syndications. So I'm not worried you're gonna get there. Plus, you were talking about this, having this space to clear your mind, to be at peace, to be clear-headed.
Yes.
And that's the energy I get from you. So I want to tip my hat to you on that. And
Thank you.
I took notes. Really, I'm glad we met, and I hope we keep talking because it brings a lot to me. So we're gonna slowly wrap up this conversation. I have a few more questions before this ends. First of all, is there anything that you've read or that you've listened to that shaped the way you think and that you like to share with other people that the audience might want to read or listen to?
So I'll tell you, actually, interesting question. Like, I don't read too much, but there's actually two books that I read and that shaped me a lot.
Yeah.
I would say the first is Untethered Soul.
Okay.
I think the name of the author is Michael Singer.
Michael Singer, Untethered Souls.
Yeah, this is a very good book. I read it like 3-4 years ago. And it changed my whole vision, understanding of how to be grounded, how to back out of everything. Every situation you are, you want to be able to back out. You want to see yourself, see that. And he's talking a lot about this point about it comes into spirituality as well, but at the same time, just knowing, like, you have always this voice in your head going on and talking, you should have done this, you should have done this, you should have done this. And this keeps you busy. And at least people like me that are
the monkey mind.
The monkey mind, you call it, like all the names, you call it the voice. And when you can see it as an object, you can back out of the situation. Okay, what is now? What is going on? Okay, my mind is spinning. Okay, it's okay. I can see it spinning. I don't have to get entangled in it. I can just, okay, I still focus what I want to focus. And what happens is that once you start living like that, a lot of pain comes up as well, because you start seeing things that you didn't want to notice till now, because you were so entangled. Why are people in this world always on social media, videos, TikTok,
to busy their mind.
To busy their mind, because they might feel some pain, they might feel some anxiety, some depression.
Yeah, it numbs.
So once you start backing out, it start kicking in. So he talks a lot about this book, and this is, I think, is a very good book for people to read. And there's another book, what I met the author more than the book himself, Just Breathe, from Dan Brule. He's a senior Navy SEAL in the US. And he works a lot about breath work, breathing, and breathing techniques, and always be able to pause, stop. And it's the same idea of always backing out of the situation. You feel anxious, you feel fear. Okay, no, it's a feeling. Breathe in, let yourself go. Now you can think clearly, because when you are in this fight or flight mode, there's no way of thinking clearly. You can't get the situation clearly. Now, the way to do it is that anytime you have any situation, you just want to pause a second, take a deep breath, and then think what to answer. And that point is a very painful point for most people. It's called the silence. When you are silent with people, I have the same challenge always. When you are with other people and you want to say something, you want to break the silence because you have this tremendous anxiety. I want to do something. I have to break something. And there's the place where you find your inner peace. You find your wisdom. You find your understanding, what you need to do next.
Love it.
And that's the case when you go with this scenario. Some people can't handle it because like they're so afraid of silence. They always want to be emotional, want to do something, want to do something. But once you get to this place, it's a different thing, different world.
Nice. It's very interesting. The last guest that was on the podcast was my personal coach, Denis. It was his second time on the podcast. This time he came back to really talk about his specialty, which is neuroscience, neuroperformance, like neurocoaching. And he was re-explaining this whole concept to me, and he's been my coach for years, but he was like synthesizing in 1 hour, and it was super clear, and loved it. The whole game he's teaching is to take back control of your nervous system. And that's exactly what breath work is about.
Yes.
Because through breathing, we can have a lot of control on our nervous system.
What Dan Belay always says that breathing is interesting stuff. It's autopilot. Like you don't think you breathe all day, but you can still control it. It's have both options. And once you control your breath work, then you start controlling your nervous system.
Is he the one who came up with box breathing? Or?
I don't think box breathing. I think what he's the pioneer in is in holotropic breathing.
Okay.
On different than most breathing that most people talk about, because most people talk about relaxation breathing from the nose and calming your nervous system down. But what he believes, and I see it as right, that sometimes you can't relax. You have to go into the motion. So you do a heavy breathwork session with breathing through your mouth, in and out, only through your mouth, not through your nose. You're actually activating the emotions. And let's say you have fear, you have sadness, you have anger, grief. You want to activate it because you want to give it the full space. Once you give it the full space, then it goes. So he says an example like taking a house after construction and this full of dust and dirt. If you go with a bottle of Windex to clean the windows with a vacuum cleaner, you're not doing anything. You need first to get the big dust out, the big dirt. Then you can go slowly clean with a cloth and make sure the house looks nice. So he says, breathing through your mouth is first taking out the big dirt, and you need the big vacuum cleaner, big machine. Once you finish that, then you take your nose breathing, slowly cleaning up the corners and making it the tiny things that needs to be fixed.
So you do breath work every day?
I do every day. I try to do every day a few minutes. And once in a few weeks, I go for a session to do a full, an hour long, 2 hours with a facilitator.
So that's a group or?
Sometimes in group, sometimes in private. There's a few options, yes. There's a lot of people. There's Jewish people, non-Jewish people do it. It's a big world these times. There's another thing that's important to know. Like, have you heard of Gabor Mate?
I heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very big coach. And he believes a lot, like, that all the science is not really true. Like, you talk about ADHD or ADD, OCD, all this kind of stuff. I believe that he has a big point about it. I also see it that way, that it's always unprocessed emotions what doesn't let you go on with life the way you want to go on. And like we said, the system wants you to put in a box. So what happens if someone has a lot of emotions, a lot of energy, and the system put them into a box? Now imagine taking a wild cat and putting it into a box. What's going to happen? You're going to start jumping. You want to go out of there. Or imagine put yourself up a wrist on your hand and make it tight and you can't move. You start like, get me out of there. So what happens if ADHD mind, that the guy has so much unprocessed energy that the soul says like, get me out of here. I don't want to sit. I want to jump. I want to do something because it's kind of like, I have to get out of it. Now, if you give yourself the proper space, the proper place to process your emotions, then your soul says, your energy, okay, I'm good. Now I can let you stay calm and collected. He goes more, God Almighty goes more like all physical issues, physical pain is emotional to begin with. The emotion gets stuck in a physical level in the body. There's a lot of books about that. We're not going to talk about this full length now. I have to make another podcast with that.
Yeah, you'll have to come back and talk about personal stuff. Like
but that point. So you ask about which this. So this is now when you approach business the same way, you always back out of the situation. You're never entangled in the game. You have an issue. Bank calls you. The tenant calls you. It's chaotic. The first thing is, set back, take a deep breath. Let's see proactive. Tony Robbins is busy a lot of that. Like you have to be proactive, not reactive. You want to control the game versus getting controlled by the game. And only that time you can be a leader.
Easy said, not always easy done.
Not easy to get done.
Experience helps a lot.
And you always want to start where you are. I would say the biggest problem in today's world is people don't realize where they are.
I think that's probably my biggest, let's call it understanding this year, like in my whole personal development journey, was to accept myself. Like it sounds very broad, but accept where I am, accept what I feel, not react to it. Like embrace it the way I feel about anything. If I'm scared, if I'm worried, if I'm sad, not try to remove the feeling or get rid of it or reject it. And that reduces so much. So when you're saying accept where you are and start from where you are, like the child that you're looking at, accept where he comes from and start from there. There's a lot of accepting what is, and accepting is a strong power. And we reject a lot more than we should. We reject our experience. We reject others' feelings.
Right.
But we need to see them, like you're saying, from
the way where they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that by denying a fact, let's say they think they have a challenge, they feel fear, feel anxiety, and they think that by denying it, they'll be able to skip it. But they don't know by denying it, it fully controls them.
It's giving it power.
It's giving it power versus by acknowledging it, by seeing it, okay, I see you. It's good and important to recognize, kind of like a little baby cries. A kid comes home, cries from school or cries someone bullied them. Well, the kid needs one thing, needs a hug and needs Tati tell them you're okay. You're good the way you are. You're safe. And when the kid feels that, he's fully okay. He can go on next day. And the same thing you need to do to inner child as well. To accept, know where I am, not deny the fact, and give yourself the space. So back to the point, by accepting where you are, it's only way to grow is by realizing where you are, realizing what you can do, what is in reach, where you can grow. That's the only way to grow. People want to do things that they're not capable to do. It backfires. And they getting backlash and then they give up. Because they didn't want to accept the fact where they are. It's hard. It's not easy. It's easy said than done.
Yeah.
I need a lot of work for that, a lot of coaching.
It's worth the investment.
It's worth. Because that's the only thing you start living.
We talk a lot about personal development on this podcast because I think it's behind business success.
It's behind business success. You can't. I think that is like when I started to do coaching, going to therapy, breath work, I was afraid. I didn't want to tell people. So I was like doing it on the side, confidential. And I know people needs confidentiality. But then after year 2, I started realizing that I'm living two kind of people. It's one person here. It's put me a lot of stress. So slowly came in that this is me. I'm fully into that. And I think when some people say it's not ethical in business, I'm not talking about going into deep things, but just be yourself even in business. Show your humanity. Be human being. Don't be a robot. I have a common word what I say. People are afraid that AI gonna take away jobs. So I say if your power is only an AI power, then definitely AI gonna take away your position. But if you can sell something more than AI, meaning to say, most people, they're only selling what they intake. So they have like, let's say an Excel sheet in their mind, let's say a Word file. They have a lot of intelligence, what they learned, and this is what they're selling back. Now AI is much better than that. But if you have your inner power, inner energy, your gut feeling, then nobody can take it away. So when it comes to if AI gonna take away my job, depends who you are. If you're in a piece of AI, if your only strength is your knowledge, then AI has more knowledge than you.
Amen.
What?
Said amen. Wrong word.
Yes.
Abe, I have a last question for you.
Yeah.
I love that one. If you could put something on a billboard that the entire planet could see, a message to the world, what would you write on it?
Trust. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. I would say this is do what you need to do and trust. It's not. It's easier said than done. Trust, because it's a lot of emotional barriers that block that. But I would say this is the number one point. Trust. Go and do your things and trust. Same time, take responsibility, take ownership. If you make a mistake, then you're gonna be accountability for it.
But be persistent. You can trust the process.
But you can trust the process. If you have to follow what you want to do, but trust and do and keep going.
Abe, thank you so much. It was a great conversation. People have your information in the description of the podcast so they can reach out.
Yes.
And this was an
Thanks,
awesome
Leo.
talk. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So another great conversation ends. I hope it brought you tremendous value. If it did, please like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. Also, you can always drop a comment. We love reading them. And don't forget, our guests would be happy to speak with you. So don't be shy reaching out. So that's it. That's all. See you very soon, my friends.